Scagz here. Hope everybody's well out there in poker land. You guys ready to make some money? Or at least try to? A lot of money to be made out there. But I got to tell you, it's poker, so anything can happen. You may do everything right, and you can get rivered, like I did the other night, 6 times. $3,000 later, I had to leave. But yeah, we're going to talk about no limit poker, some correct strategy, what to do in certain spots. Just give you some ideas. Um, I've been in the gaming world for over 35 years. I've had plenty of wins and I've had plenty of losses. But I've been playing a lot of no limit for the last maybe 20 years. Really love to play. I fancy myself a cash game expert, but I will play tournaments. And while I'm waiting for a no limit game, at times I'll play in the 15, 30, 30, 60 limit game. So anyway, let's go ahead and get to it. Um, Lots of games here in the East Bay, lots to choose from. Of course, now we've got COVID going on, and the casinos are going to shut down tonight. Tonight's going to be the last night because we're going to be on lockdown for probably four weeks, maybe 6 weeks. Who knows? There's plenty of home games out there if you're looking to find them. Um, but a pretty rich scene here in the East Bay normally. When you got the Oaks, you got the Palace, you got the Grand, you got the casinos, the Matrix down in San Jose. You got Lucky Chances. You've got the spot up there at Grayton, Cash Creek, and then you fancy into Sacramento, and um, you got what's the name of that place? Stone something, right up there off of 80. So lots of places to play, uh, lots of things to do, lots of ways to make money, and sometimes you lose money, but that's a chance we take. So let's just talk a little bit about the Cadillac of all games, which is No Limit Hold'em. There's a reason that the World Series is No Limit Hold'em. The best players play No Limit, and it is the hardest game. Um, Everything else, and once you've played No Limit, you realize that there's nothing else like No Limit. I mean, it's like a heavyweight boxer. Would you rather watch a heavyweight or a featherweight? You play there, you play um, the limit games, and everyone chases you down to the river. Your aces don't mean anything because you can't run anybody out of a hand. Um, Tournaments are fine, but the problem with tournaments is obviously the antes keep going up, and then you get into a position where you're blinded out. You're down to your last 10 blinds, and then you got to just go and try to make a play. So I think No Limit's the purest game, the best game, and once again, I think the best players are cash game No Limit players. Okay, so let's talk about, before we get into that, let's just talk about playing serious poker. You walk into a poker room. What do you see? You see a bunch of grinders. You see props. What are props? Props are people who are paid by the casino to fill the games. And they're playing with their own money. They get paid $20 an hour. And some casinos give them health insurance and some don't. So they're sitting there with their own money. They're extremely tight and they don't pay off. Okay. And once again, this podcast is not for the beginning poker player, but I would say the intermediate to the aspiring pro is what this is for. So this actual episode is where we're not talking about basic poker. It's more of an advanced session. Okay. So you walk into a card room, you've got the props, you've got the grinders, the people who are sitting there waiting for aces and kings. And then if you're lucky, you'll have a couple live ones at the table. A live one being people who will gamble, people who will get in with the worst of it, hoping to hit a draw. Okay. All right. So that's what we're looking at. You have to understand that This isn't some home game that Billy Bob is throwing and everybody's walking in with a couple $100 and they don't know the difference between a flush and a straight. You're sitting down with people who are serious about it, people who are trying to win. A lot of them are trying to make a run at it, trying to be professional players. So you can't just sit there like a rock and wait for aces and kings. It's like when I'm coaching basketball, it's like, what am I doing to provide an advantage for the team? You know, what are we going to do? Are we better at running? Are we going to walk it up the court? Are we going to milk the shot clock? Do we have a bunch of guys who can run and jump? Or are we going to try to speed the game up? You have to have a philosophy. And you go ahead and you read your poker books, and they all say they have these perfect strategies. And basically, what they're telling you is to sit there like a rock. Sit there on your butt like a rock and wait for aces and kings. And yeah, you can play more hands in late position. And yeah, you're supposed to only play 17% from the cutoff, et cetera, et cetera. They have all these stats. And, you know, I love stats. I talk about stats all the time. But the bottom line is you've got to have a plan on how you're going to attack these rocks and these aspiring pros. You can't just go in there and try to out tight people. On the flip side, you can't go in there and try to play every other hand because you'll get killed. Okay, because people are sitting around waiting for premium hands. What are premium hands? Aces, kings, maybe queens, queens borderline, ace king. That's about it. Everything else you're really gambling with, especially in this day and age, especially in no limit, when you can lose your stack in an instant. So you got to be careful. I mean, personally, I love the suited connectors. I love the suited gap cards. You know, give me a 6-4, give me a 9-8, give me a 10-8 as long as I can get in cheap. I love to play those hands. Okay. But understand you're going to have to hit at least 2 pair to win with those hands. Okay. If I'm playing 10-8 hearts and the board comes 10-7-3, I have a loser because a pair of 10s isn't going to win it. And if I have someone else has a pair of 10s, you know they got a bit better kicker than an 8. So you have to be judicious when playing these type of hands. All right. So let's talk about the elephant in the room that nobody likes to talk about and why 95% of the players are losers at no limit. It's 4 letters. It's the rake. It is the rake. You figure that they're running 30 hands every half hour, okay? And where I like to play, and I don't like to play little kid poker. I like to play big boy poker. I play at the Palace. I play at Lucky Chances. I play in some home games where they're dropping $7 per hand. Okay, $7 a hand. So you sit there and you do the math. You got 9 players. All right. 9 players at the table. They're dealing 30 hands every half hour. So that's $110 up in smoke. Boom. 210 gone. All right. You figure you're going to tip, right? You know, are you Dollar Dave where you're going to tip $1 for a $2,000 pot? I don't think so. Okay. You're going to tip at least a couple dollars every hand you win. You figure there's 30 hands an hour. There's 9 of you. You figure you're going to win 4 hands an hour. Okay, you figure you're tipping $2 a pop. Okay, so that's another $8. All right, but you add that all up, you got $2, 30 hands. So that's 270. Okay, so basically every hour 270 is being taken from that table, and it's a hell of a lot more. Like I said, you're playing a $2,000 pot, and some dealer slides you. You make trips. You make a full house, you make something on the river, you're going to give them a hell of a lot more than $2. Okay. But the bottom line is basically $270 per hour is going up in smoke. 9 players on the table. That's $30 an hour. Personally, I like to play long sessions. So I like to know who I'm playing against. I'm not some hit and run clown who's, you know, trying to come in here and win a couple of hands and go home. I want to win big money. and I'm going to stay at least 10 hours. So you figure right there, that's $300 up in smoke just to beat the rake. Okay. Not to include, playing to this guy to the left of me, this guy Ray, and he wants to play 2 hands an hour. And then I got the Rock Peter. This clown's about 5'2", 300 pounds. And he wants to play, he plays a lot of hands. He plays 3 hands an hour. So, it's tough. You got to be on your game. You got to be creative. You got to play from different spots. But that's what this podcast is. One of the many things we talk about. We talk about gambling. We talk about poker, which is legal in the state of California, by the way. It's a skill sport determined by that in 1991, I believe, in California. We like to, every now and then, we'll talk about politics. We'll talk about sports. I'm going to have the great one on this Saturday, an afternoon with Scags. The great one's going to be coming on, and we're going to talk about point spreads. We're going to talk about sports betting. We're going to talk about Trump. We're going to talk about the state of the state of the economy. We're going to get into it all. So this is a lot more than just a poker session. We like to talk about everything, but at the bottom of the day is we're trying to find a way to give you some advantages so you can win. Now, and the other thing is you may not be playing in these crazy games where you've got a bunch of pros and you got a bunch of rocks. You may be playing in a nice home game out in Iowa or, somewhere in New Jersey, or maybe you're over in Europe playing and it's a little bit softer game. And, I can tell you. Anyway, we don't have all night here, but let's just talk a little bit about some of the things that are not talked a lot. You read these books, right? You go out and you want to be a better player and you get a poker book. Well, is it a book? Is it geared towards tournament play? Is it geared towards limit play? Or is it geared towards no limit cash games, right? And if it's no limit cash game, the 1-2 cash game is a lot different than the 10-20 cash game at the win that I was playing in the other night. That's just the whole big difference. So you're getting these books and you're reading this information, and what may work in one setting isn't the correct play in the other. And let me just give you an example. Okay. And this is, I've been in this racket for 35 years plus. When you're playing limit hold'em and you get a pair of aces, people are really happy and they're betting up. But the problem with aces and kings and sets in limit hold'em is they don't hold up. And why don't they hold up? Because you can't get anybody off their darn hand. So you're going to come in. Let's say you're playing. I was playing 15-30 the other day. So let's say you're playing 15-30. You're sitting there with aces, right? Homie comes in. He makes it. He puts in the 15. You bump it up. You make it 30. 4 other guys call. So now you got 6 in the hand. You got 30 in the pot. What's that? 180. Okay. Flop comes. Let's say the flop comes king 10-3. Okay. Flop comes king 10-3 rainbow. Okay. Rainbow means 3 different suits. Okay. And I was playing out in Vegas the other day, and this guy was nuts. And we were betting $100 on the color of the flop. This guy was such a psycho. He was stuck $5,000 and he was giving away money. And if it came up all red, I got the 100. If it came up all black, he got the 100. That was kind of funny. If it came up 2-1, whoever had the 2 got the 100. No ties on the flop. You guys ever do that? I'd never done that before until this guy, this psychopath, he was stuck about $5,000. We ended up playing $100 flip pre-flop. All right. Anyway, you want to spice up the game. You're playing with a bunch of rocks. Try that. They probably won't go for it, but hey, who knows? So anyway, the flop comes king 10-3, right? You've got aces. Okay. But understand what's going on. What's going on is somebody might be playing queen jack and now they got an open ender. Okay. Someone may be crazy and called you with king 3. So they got 2 pair. You're beat. Somebody somebody might be playing 4-5 and they may have a backdoor flush draw, right? So they all check to you. You make it 15. They all call. Next card falls off, right? Let's say it's a 6. Let's say it's a 6 of diamonds. All right, great. So the flop was a king of diamonds, a 10 of club, and a 3 of hearts. So now, you make it 30. Everybody else calls. Of course, Queen Jack's going to call. He's got 8 outs and probably thinks his king is good, which is another 3. So now you have 11 outs. What's that? That's 22%. Do the math. Put $30 into a pot. What's the pot already? What is it? It was what? 30 times 6. Okay, that was 180. 6 times 15, that's another 90. So it's 270. Okay. And then we're all going to go 30. So that's another 180. Okay. So now we're at $450. And homie's got to put in $30 to stay alive. He's going to put in $30 into 450. How many times is 30 going to 450? Okay. Goes in there. What? Let's see. 30 into 450. Yeah, it goes in there. Yeah, 15 times. Okay, so you're going to put in $30 and you're going to make 15 times that investment. And you've got 11 outs, which is 22%. So that's a natural call. But the problem in this hand is you have the home chicken who called with 4 or 5 diamonds. Okay, he called with 4 or 5 diamonds because he likes to gamble. So now, not only does homie, okay, he's got 4 or 5 diamonds here. He's got the open-ended straight draw. He also has the diamond draw, okay, which comes out to 17 outs. 17 times 2 is 34. That means 33%. That means he's got to get 1 to 3, and he's getting 15 to 1. So it's a no-brainer, and that's what happens in the game of limit. So aces and sets, I'll talk about limit here in a second, but in aces and sets, you just get killed with that stuff because everybody is going to the river. Okay, they're going to the river. It makes sense, and you can't run anybody off a hand. Okay, now let's talk about that same situation. If that's the same situation and we're playing no limit, okay, and the stacks are pretty deep. Let's say we got 9 players, and let's say the stack range is anywhere from $500 to $10,000. Okay, with most of the guys having about $3,000. All right, so that situation, I've got aces. I'm going to make it at least 150 to go. Let's say guys are on tilt. We've been playing all night. Guys are stuck. Let's say I get 4 callers. Okay, so 4 callers, 150, I'm in. So we got 5 players. That's not what you want with aces, by the way. You want to be heads up, 2 other opponents at the most, because you don't want this thing to drag out. But the difference in no limit, I'm going to explain it here. So I made it 150. Everybody called. So we got 750 in the pot. Same flop, king, 10, 3, rainbow. Okay, well, same thing. I know the weasel queen jack might be in there. Peter may be in there trying to snap me off. Okay, we got Ray over there. He likes big cards. He loves ace king. So he's probably sitting there with ace king, which doesn't really bother me. And then, we got a couple other players. So in this situation, 750 in the pot, I'm going to overbet the pot because Asian Ray's sitting there and he's got $5,000, so he can break me. And the Weasel Peter's sitting there with 1,500. And I just don't want to deal with him. So if those guys are going to draw, they're going to have to pay a big price. So let's just say everybody checks to me. I'm going to make it at least $1,000. So they're not getting odds to draw, right? And then in that situation, you'll probably, unless the guy's really on tilt or he's open-ended with a flush draw, or he thinks his ace king is good, which is possible. That just depends how have I been playing all night. If I'm going to raise 150, what am I going to raise with? So there's all kinds of things. And that's another thing about, these guys want to go and write the books, and that's great. I'm actually working on a book myself, but the book is more about people. It's about poker. It's about America. Okay, it's not really about if you do A, B, and C. You may be able to grind out $20 an hour. Um, $20 an hour, and you want to play 40 hours a week. So what's that? $800. Um, is that right? Yeah, is that right? $20. Yeah, that's 800 a week. So you're grinding out 3 grand a month if everything goes right. And I'm sitting here and I'm taking home over 10K after taxes, and I barely got food for my cat, BK, here behind me. I'm broke as a dog, so I'm not going to sit there and read homie's book, give homie $30 so I can go make $20 an hour. That's not what we're about here. We're trying to come up with some ways to make some real money, and we play unconventional because we're not going to play like the other 8 rocks at the table. We're not going to play like Peter, who's a banker, okay, who makes $400,000 a year, and he can go through 15 straight losing sessions, and it doesn't really bother him. Okay, we're not going to play like Ray, who's maxed out all his credit cards and owes $100,000, and his wife just left him in a divorce. Okay, we're not going to do that. We're trying to be responsible. Okay, we're trying to play the odds, and we want to sneak in there and we want to break people off. That's another thing. I can't be here all night. I got to get back to this. Kansas City game here. My good friend Adonis Jordan told me to go hard on Kansas City, and it's tied up here at the end of the first quarter, and I'm laying 7.5 for the first half, so it's not looking so good. But anyway, I did have UCLA in the first half, and they were up by 22 last I looked, so it looks like it's going to be okay. But what was I talking about? All kinds of different ways to play this game, and I can't just sit here and these guys who write these nice little fancy books. It's a different situation, and that's kind of what these podcasts and this class. I got a class going, a Zoom class is about, is talking about different situations, because everybody knows you're supposed to raise with aces and kings. Everybody knows that you only call with Jack 10 suited if you're in position or it's a small bet. You're not supposed to play 6-7 unless you're in premium position. We know all that stuff, but there's a lot more to the game. There's the human side of the game, and that's what we're really looking to explore. So once again, we're working on the book. It's coming. We've got the classes. They're being developed. And remember, this Saturday we've got the great one live from Reno on a Zoom call. He's going to talk to you about how he broke away. He grew up in a trailer drinking watered down orange juice, and his parents dropped him off in Reno at the Castaway, and his parents gave him $300 and said, "Good luck, great one." And he's battled his way through this world. He's got 3 masters. He's making some good money. Uh, he'll get down on some football or some basketball. So I'll see you guys all on Saturday. All right. Oh, and last thing. Now, hey, this is how I play. These are my ideas. This is poker, guys. So don't be thinking everything I say is gonna happen. All right. I'm just gonna put you in the best position, like we do with my basketball teams. We put them in the best position to win. But when you're playing against Bishop O'Dowd and they're giving full rides to their players, and not only do they have the best players, but they have your best players. Even though you do everything right, you may not come away with the win. But this will put us in best position to get wins. All right. Okay. We got a little something here from Bruce as we kind of check out and get ready for a week of work where we're earned pay. Hopefully the IRS doesn't get too greedy with it. And I'll see everybody. I'll see everybody on Saturday with the great one. Playing the music. Like your daddy, John. Man,